Hello everyone, and welcome to the Dice Commando YouTube channel. I'm Andrew, with you here as always. This is the Commando Cast, a video cast about all things Star Wars Destiny. This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando. Hello everyone, welcome to Dice Commando and the Commando Cast. I'm Andrew with you here as always. So doing something a little different today. There were two topics that I wanted to discuss this week because both were kind of time relevant. But they're very different, right? So instead of sitting down and doing one kind of longer episode about two different topics, I figured instead what I would do would split up and do two different videos for kind of a double header today, and that way the videos can stay short, they can stay more relevant to the topic that you want to. Obviously, I hope that you'll go look at both videos, but I mean, you may not want to. So the first video will be about Taron Malicos. He's a character from Faltering Allegiances, the new set of Star Wars Destiny, fan-made, of course, and why really he's so good, at least early on, and also just kind of some thoughts and some design thoughts I have around him. The second topic is really a response video to a question that the Renewed Hope Committee had asked earlier this week to community leaders, event organizers about disorganized play. I had seen that tossed around by Agent of Zion. I thought that was funny. But no, so for their organized play going forward for Star Wars Destiny, they had kind of asked the question, what would we like to see? So I'm just sharing my thoughts on that. So again, hopefully you'll watch both videos, but either way, thanks for joining me today, and please enjoy. Everyone, thanks for joining me for the first of two videos today. This is Talkin Taron, which is what we're doing, Taron Malicos from Faltering Allegiances. So before we get into it, we're going to be talking, not only about him and why he's so good, but also some thoughts I have on design. So I just want to get some disclaimer type stuff out of the way nice and early. Again, I think that I'm 100%. Let's say this. I would not be sitting here talking about a card that Faltering Allegiances designed if I thought that the Renewed Hope Committee was garbage, right? I think says it, right? So I am going to be saying some stuff I like, some stuff I don't like about Taron. That doesn't mean I'm attacking the Renewed Hope Committee. Obviously, like I said, I would not be talking about like piddly little things if they didn't have my complete and utter support and admiration and gratitude. The next thing is what this is not a video about how Taron is broken. Right, it's no secret that Taron has pulled down several of the large early tournaments. Taron Vader's pulled down two of them. The release weekend, and then the Dice Commando tournament this last weekend. And there was some drops and stuff like that, and it's whatever you want to say. But either way, I don't think anyone can deny that that deck is good and Taron is good. And also, what this isn't a why Taron's broken video. It's not that would be reactionary to everything. I mean, yes, he's done very well early, but it would be reactionary. But it would also, right, me coming out and just saying Taron's broken, he needs fixed or whatever, would kind of undermine the actual discussion of what I'm trying to drive home today, right? So what I really want to do is kind of share my original thought, or my initial thoughts on him at least, and especially as he himself applies to future card design now that we've seen him in action and kind of had some time to digest him and how he works. So like I said, it's not a why Taron's broken episode. I really don't think he is, but instead some thoughts on why I'm concerned about some of the things in his design. Okay, so that said, let's actually go through the guy. Right, so he is 11/14 blue villain for 11 health. He has 2 melee for 1, discard, shield, resource, and a blank. Character Jedi Knight Brother. Okay, so looking at him on the surface, like he's actually maybe not quite, well, just looking at his pure stats without going into his ability, which is really where he shines, he's maybe on the mid to lower side. His die's not great, right? That 2 pay side, you'd probably rather have a 1-2. He's kind of right on par with a typical 11/14. So I don't think there's any problems there. Well, not only that, there are no problems there. right? But where Taron really starts to shine is his card text. And I can't say ability because it's abilities. So after you activate this character, if there are no dice showing shields in play, you may spend 1 resource to deal 2 damage to a character. So do note that his own die does have a shield, right? So that's relevant. So if he rolls, even if there's nothing else in the pool, if he rolls in and he rolls a shield, he can't do his ability. So it's somewhat limited in that way, but not hugely, but it does come up. Then he has a power action, which is spot up to 2 other blue characters to turn that many of an opponent's dice to any side. Okay, so he's been very strong in. So first off, one of the things that really helps him in the mono blue deck is that control's a little more limited in this new format post rotation. I believe blue has the access to the best / most consistent removal. Let me put it this way. Mono blue has access, of all the mono colors, mono blue is probably in the best position for removal right now, with villain, right? You have Forsaken, Isolation's popping its head up again, and stuff like that, right? So it's in a pretty good position there. So that's not as necessarily crippling, right? I mean, remember, typically we think, oh man, this guy only. So one of the arguments here against his power action is well, you have to play him rainbow or you have to play him mono, so that's a restriction. And that's true, except that we're also pushing mono in the same set, right? So, and then when United came out, which is kind of a whole different thing with transformations, I think that also helped them a lot too, right? But his power action is very, very good in a low control meta because he can help blank things, and it's obviously very, very good, right? It's one of the reasons he's very useful. So with both of those said, I've heard some discussion about points balance and stuff like him. And so where I come to, the first thing for me with why I don't think there are any problems with Taron outright, except that I don't like the fact that he has an after you activate and a power action. I would really like it in Destiny, especially with, one of the discussions that's come up in this Faltering Allegiance set is complexity and stuff like that. I really like to stray away, or I hope that in the future we can steer away from having guys that do everything, right? To make a card better, it doesn't have to do multiple things, right? I would like for a card and a character to just do one thing. Now, there are other cards out there, the FFG cards, that have set the precedent. The main character who has, and the only one I could really think of that straight up had basically a mirror to this, where he has an activate, and a power action, is Thrawn. Thrawn's obviously way more expensive, and the two really work in concert, right? So whereas Taron, they are very different abilities, right? So I don't think that saying, well, Thrawn had it means that Taron can have it, because I don't think that that's one-to-one. I don't think it's the same thing. And I think most people would agree with that statement, at least, right? So that's the one thing I don't like here, and I would like to see different. Now, going into the points argument, some people have said that maybe he should be 15, so you can't run United We Stand, you only have to run United. And maybe that's fine. I don't necessarily think he does need an elite balance, but when you look at this guy, right, his die is not fantastic. You're not playing this guy necessarily for his die. So I don't think that he has a 3-point, if a 3-point die is what I mean. I think that this guy would be best served, because in some arguments, he's better single die. So I think that if a point balance needs to come, instead of having him go 12-15, he should go, and yes, I realize that bumping him by +1/+1 solves both arguments, but I would really like to see him at 12-14. Again, he's pretty good single die, and it actually has less chance than of hitting the shield, for whatever that's worth. I mean, his die's fine. You don't mind bringing it for 3 points, but there are other die. If you had to make the decision to run him elite versus someone else elite, I think you would run the other person elite. And I think that in this case, because just sticking him on the table is good, right? I mean, what Taron brings to the table isn't his die. It's his abilities, right? Plural. So I think in that case, this guy is a great candidate for a 12-14. And maybe they, now do I think he goes 13-15? I don't know. Let's let the smarter people, the designers, figure that out. I just think that it would be really smart if he could go 12, because we've seen some 3-wides out there so far. I mean, again, it's very early meta, but we've seen some 3-wides out there that do some pretty gross things. But fundamentally, am I saying that Taron's broken? No. Am I saying Taron needs changed? Not necessarily. I'm just saying that I am worried in the future that, if every card has to do more to be good, this is where we're going to end up. And at some point, the only thing keeping us in check is the amount of text that we can throw on the card. And I think that if you're going to have something like this where there's an after you activate, they shouldn't also have a power action. And again, I do grant you that there are other cards out there like Infus Nest, that they have a kind of like a static setup ability, or like a Captain Phasma who has kind of that static enabling ability and a power action. And I don't think that that's really a one-to-one argument here, right? Taron's really one of the first guys we've seen who has, and I'm not saying he's the only one, right? It's completely possible that there are others out there. But his after you activate and power action, both being strong and both being unrelated on a 14-point character, I think is what really sets him apart as being, if not him above curve, being a class of card that easily becomes above curve. Hopefully I have made my point. So that's really my piece on Taron. I don't think that it's time to do anything on him, but I think that that's why he's so good early, is that he's just kind of more toolboxy. And if I'm looking at toolboxy characters, I don't like them being my 11-point characters that I can bring to the table, right? So that's just my piece on Taron. He's very good. That Vader deck. There's the Pilot Vader deck with UWS. There's the 3-wide deck flying around out there, 3-wide mono blue deck. All very good things in early meta. We'll have to see how things develop, of course. But he seems very strong, especially in a high Saw meta where, I mean, basically this guy just invalidates Saw, which in of itself isn't a problem either. But then, you start getting into the power creep issue. So anyway, those are just my thoughts on Taron. Let me know what you think. Should we do something about Taron? I don't know. Should we do something? What are your thoughts? What are you thinking? So anyway, thanks for joining me for my thoughts today. And if nothing else, guys, go Commando.